Welcome to the session on Features and Applications of Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator is an industry standard illustration application for print, multimedia and internet. Illustrator is a vector-based program used to create scalable vector art for using projects for both print and web. It means that your image can be scaled infinitely without any distortion or pixelation. This allows for flexible artwork that can be used at various different sizes. Rasters and Vectors. A raster image is made up of pixels, each a different color, arranged to display an image. A vector image is made up of paths, each with a mathematical formula, vector, that tells the path how it is shaped and what color it is bordered with or filled by. The major differences is that the raster image pixels do not retain their appearance as size increases. When you blow a photograph up, it becomes blurry for this reason. Vector images do retain appearance regardless of size, since the mathematical formulas dictate how the image is rendered. Raster images are more common in general, such as JPG, GIF, PNG, and are widely used on the web. Vector graphics are common for images that will be applied to a physical product. Raster images are primarily used with photos, which is why Photoshop is a raster editing program. Adobe Illustrator, on the other hand, is a vector drawing program that automatically creates your vector formulas as you draw. Logos, letterhead, and other graphic elements are typically best created as vectors, while photographs are best left for raster. All vectors must be converted to raster for web use. Text is typically rendered in vector format. A load of images can be made with either raster or vector program and look exactly the same on both programs. Images with a subtle gradation of one color to another are the images that will look most different, since vector programs need to create a separate shape for each shade of color. Some vector programs do have the ability to create color gradients within one single shape, but these are actually raster effects. A vector graphic with gradients contains both vector and raster elements and won't be suitable for process that requires 100% vector or true vector art. Image resolution. Image resolution is a detail of an image holds. The term applies to raster digital images, film images, and other types of images. Higher resolution means more image detail. Image resolution can be measured in various ways. Resolution refers to the number of pixels in an image. Resolution is sometimes identified by the width and height of image as well as the total number of pixels in the image. The number of pixels that will be printed per inch is known as the resolution of the image, or image resolution. Print resolution tends to be much larger than screen resolution. That's because the ink dots when printing can be much closer together than normally seen on a screen. Both image file resolution and monitor resolutions are measured in either pixels per inch (ppi) or pixel dimensions such as 1024 by 768 pixels, and printer resolution is measured in dots per inch (dpi). In each of these circumstances, different numbers are used to describe the same image, making it challenging to translate from one system of measurement to another. This in turn can make it difficult to understand how the numbers relate to real-world factors such as the image detail and the quality of file size and print size. Illustrator workspace and document. You create and manipulate your document and files using various elements such as panels, bars, and windows. Any arrangement of these elements is called a workspace. When you first start Illustrator, you see the default workspace, which you can customize for the task you perform. The application bar across the top contains a workspace which are menus and other application controls. Control panel usually appears below the menu bar. It provides quick access to options related to the object or tool. The option displayed in the control panel varies depending on the type of object or tool that is selected. Panels helps you monitor and modify your work. Example, the brush panel in the Illustrator. Panels can be grouped, stacked or docked. The Tools panel contains tools for creating and editing images, artwork, page elements and so on. Related tools are grouped. The document window displays the file you are working on. Document windows can be tabbed and in certain cases grouped and docked. The status bar. It appears at the lower left edge of the illustration window. It displays any of the following: current zoom level, current tool in use, current artboard in use, navigation controls for multiple artboard, date and time, number of undo and redo available, document color profile, status of a managed file. Toolbar or tool panel. The tool panel toolbar is by default located on the left hand side of the work area. This is a floating panel and we can drag it wherever you want by clicking and dragging while holding down the mouse button on the middle of the very top of it. Tool panel contains all mouse based tools that are used for editing and navigation in Illustrator. Most of the tool icons have a small black down pointing arrowhead in the bottom right hand corner. This indicates that there are more tools that can be accessed by clicking and holding down the mouse button. We can close the panel by click on the X at the top right of the panel and the Tools panel will disappear. Bring the panel back by going to Window, Tools, the 8th item in the menu. A check mark next to the menu item indicates it is showing on your screen, or even want to get to the default set of panels, just go to Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials. Some tools in the toolbox have additional tools linked to them. These tools have a small gray triangles in the right hand corner. To view the additional tools, click and hold down on any tool that has a gray triangle in the corner. Illustrator Tools. Selection Tool. The most commonly used tool which selects text and graphic frames and allows you to work with an object using its bounding box. Direct Selection Tool. Selects the contents of a frame such as a place graphic, allows you to work directly with the editable objects such as paths, rectangles or type that has been converted to a text outline. Group Selection Tool. Selects a group of points all at once such as the 4 points of a rectangle. Magic Wand Tool. Selects all objects in a document with same or similar fill color, stroke weight, stroke color, opacity or blending mode. By specifying the color range to tolerance, you can control what the Magic Wand tool selects. Lasso Tool. Selects objects, anchor points or path segments by being dragged around all or part of the object. Pen Tool. It creates a line between two anchor points you make. Creates straight lines if you simply click the release to make anchor points. Add Anchor Point Tool. It adds a point to a path, which is a simple way to change any path. This helps to turn one shape into another. Delete Anchor Point Tool. It deletes points from a path without causing a break in the path. Convert Direction Point Tool. It changes the control handles around an anchor point. reshaping the segments controlled by that anchor point. Type Tool. It creates resizable and movable text frames in which you can type text. Type on a path tool, used to type on an object's path. Line Tool. It creates straight lines. Ellipse Tool. It creates ellipse shapes that hold text. Rectangle Tool. It creates rectangle shapes that hold color or text. Polygon Tool. It creates polygon shapes that hold color or text. Paintbrush Tool. It draws a path and applies a brush stroke simultaneously. Pencil Tool. It draws open and closed paths as if you were drawing with a pencil on paper. It is most useful for fast sketching or creating a hand-drawn look. Smooth Tool. It removes excess angles from an existing path or a section of a path. Arc Tool. It creates a curved line segment or a close wedge-like shape. Spiral Tool. It creates a spiral-shaped object of a given radius and number of winds. Grid Tool. It creates rectangular grids of a specified size with a specified number of dividers. Polar Grid Tool. It creates concentric circles of a specified size and a specified number of dividers. Star Tool. It creates star-shaped object with a given size and number of points. Flare Tool. Creates flare objects with a bright center, a halo and rays and rings. Use this tool to create an effect similar to a lens flare in a photograph. Erase Tool. It removes part of an existing path or stroke. You can use this tool on paths but not on text. Rotate Tool. It changes orientation or angle of the object on the page. Reflect Tool. Flips the objects across an invisible axis that you specify. You can copy while reflecting to create a mirror image of an object. Scale Tool. It scales a selected object by being dragged anywhere in the document window. Scales the object relative to their center points or to any reference point you make anywhere in the document window. Shear Tool. Slants or skews an object along its horizontal axis. Also rotates both of object's axes. Reshape Tool. It selects one or more anchor points and selections of paths and then adjusts the selected points and paths globally. Wrap Tool. It stretches objects as if they were made of clay. When you drag or pull portions of an object using this tool, the pulled areas attenuate. Twirl Tool. It creates swirling distortion of an object. Pucker Tool. Deflates an object by moving control points toward the cursor. Bloat Tool. It inflates an object by moving control points away from the cursor. Scallop Tool. It adds random, smooth, arc-shaped details to the outline of an object. Crystallize Tool. It adds random spike and arc-shaped details to the outline of an object. Wrinkle Tool. It adds random arc and spike-shaped details to the outline of an object. Free Transform Tool. It provides a way to perform any transformations such as rotating and scaling. Simple Spray Tool. It creates a set of simple instances or increases more instances to an existing set. Simple Shift Tool. It moves simple instances around. Simple Scrunch Tool. It pulls simple instances together or apart. Use this tool to shape the density distribution of a simple set. Simple Size Tool. It increases or decreases the size of simple instances in an existing simple set. Simple Spin Tool. It orients the simple instances in a set. Simple Instances locator near the cursor orient in the direction of the cursor's movement. Simple Stain Tool. It colorizes simple instances, changing the hue toward the tint color while preserving the original luminosity. Simple Screener Tool. It increases or decreases the transparency of the simple instances in a set. Simple Style Tool. It applies or removes a graphic style from a simple instance. Column Graph Tool. It compares one or more sets of values by using rectangles whose lengths are proportional to the values. Stacked Column Graph Tool. It is similar to a column graph but stacks the columns on top of one another instead of side by side. This graph type is useful for showing the relationship of parts to the total. Bar Graph Tool. It is similar to a column graph but positions the rectangles horizontally instead of vertically. Stacked Bar Graph Tool. It stacks the bars horizontally instead of vertically. Line Graph Tool. It uses points to represent one or more sets of values with a different line joining the points in each set. This type of graph is often used to show the trend of one or more subjects over a period of time. Area Graph Tool. It is similar to a line graph but emphasizes totals as well as changes in values. Scatter Graph Tool. It plots data points as paired sets of coordinates along the x and y axis. Pie Graph Tool. It creates a circular graph whose wedges represent the relative percentages of values compared. Radar Graph Tool. It compares sets of values at given points in the time or in particular categories and is displayed in a circular format. Gradient Tool. It changes the direction of a gradient, its beginning point and ending point, and applies a gradient across multiple objects. Creating a new document. Setting up your document correctly from the start will make your job much easier as you work through your project. When you open a new document in Illustrator, it asks you to specify a new document profile. The two choices you should use are either web if your final product will be seen on a screen, or print if it will be printed out. The main practical difference between the two is that in printing, color is achieved by the mixing of three colors: cyan, magenta and yellow, plus the addition of black. While on the screen, color is always achieved by the mixing of only three colors: red, green and blue. For Illustrator to know how to define colors, it needs to know the final medium. To create a new document, click File, New. This will open the document setup dialog box. Here, you will be able to set up the correct page size and orientation for your document. Profile. Choose a profile that will best fit your project. For example, when making a graphic for a browser, choose Print. When making a graphic for web, choose Web. Each document profile has appropriate presets for your project. Size. Choose a page size from the menu or type values for width and height. To change unit size from points to inches, click on the units drop down and choose inches. Orientation. Click the portrait, tall or landscape wide icons. These icons interact dynamically with the dimensions you enter in page size. If you enter incorrect information in the document setup dialog box, or if you need to adjust any of this information while you are working, you can make changes anytime by selecting File, Document Setup, More Options. Working with colors. Color models describe the colors we see and work with in digital graphics. Each color model, such as RGB, CMYK or HSB, represents a different method for describing and classifying color. RGB and CMYK. RGB, a large percentage of the visible spectrum can be represented by mixing red, green and blue. RGB colored light in various proportions and intensities. Where the colors overlap, they create cyan, magenta and yellow. RGB colors are called additive color because you create white by adding R, G and B together. That is, all light is reflected back to the eye. Additive colors are used for lighting, television and computer monitors. CMYK. Whereas the RGB model depends on a light source to create color, the CMYK model is based on the light absorbing quality of ink printer on paper. As white light strikes translucent ink, a portion of the spectrum is absorbed. Color that is not absorbed is reflected back to your eye. Combining pure cyan, C, magenta, M and yellow, Y, pigments would result in black by absorbing or subtracting all colors. For this reason, they are called subtractive colors. Black K. Ink is added for better shadow density. The letter K came into use because black is key color for registering other colors and because the letter B also stands for blue. Combining these inks to reproduce color is called four-color process printing. Now let's summarize what we've been talking so far. We started off defining what a raster and vector image is and their major differences and advantages. We then moved to the Adobe Illustrator interface elements, workspace and all the tools available for us inside of Illustrator for creating vector artworks. A few assignments. The first one, create a new document in Illustrator and create a simple design using basic shape tools and colors. Second, do a detailed study about vector and raster, graphics, images and prepare a seminar on it. Books for reference. How to do everything with Illustrator, see as beginner, A Beginner's Choice by David Collins. Second one, Adobe Illustrator CC Classroom in a book, Adobe Creative Team. The third one, The Beginner's Guide to Adobe Illustrator Tools and Tips by Brockamani. The fourth one, Adobe Illustrator AI CC 2015, A Beginner's Guide by Scott Cassasan. Thank you for watching. Here we conclude. Have a great day.